As the residents of Port Harcourt, we are trying to adjust to the reality of living in a lockdown city due to the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The governor of Rivers State relaxed the lockdown for 2 days. We hit the city of Port Harcourt to find out what it's been like with the residents of Port Harcourt in a lockdown Port Harcourt city. Follow me.
It was not easy. It was not easy at all. We are just managing. We are just trying to go to this lockdown to just stop. It's not easy. Everything is costly. Everything is costly. Even though tomato 6 pieces is 300, we are just managing. We are just managing. So we should stay at home as the governor instructed. So we are believing that one day that this coronavirus will stop. So everybody will go back to the position, working place, and the other things that we used to do. Everything changed. Like pepper, everything costly. In fact, everything cost. It's very, very bad. It's not good. It's not favorable at all. I go market today to buy flour because I'm doing puff. I not even see where to buy flour. No stores, all the stores they say no flour to use. Sugar, we don't see sugar to buy. So as you see, everything is just scattered. We cannot even organize ourselves at all. Everybody is angry. Everybody is annoyed because it's not the way it is supposed to be. So it's not moving well. It's not okay at all for us. Everything high. Even the one that's not supposed high, all of them high. Cup of sugar, they sell it like 100 naira, now at 200, 250. A rubber of sugar, they buy 2,000, now 2,005, 3,000. Everything is high. So I did not buy anything today. They should call it off so that we can eat food before the disease will come and kill us. Because hunger day. We will eat first. If you don't eat, your children will die. Your children will suffer. So we will need it to call it off so that we can do other necessary things to protect ourselves. My brother, me, as you see me, I be widow without nobody. Hungry don't kill me with 3 children for house. No way. No. One cost start of pepper 4,000 naira, which I never see like that. Basins of Gary 6,000 naira, 6,500. I don't even feel meet up to buy. Now so we hear the sickness say we don't even see them for eye. Now then see the sickness for eye. We never see them for eye. How we go believe?
So as it be now, you want me the lockdown continue?
No. Make them open before me. I go die with hungry and my children. You see me as you see me. You don't see say I don't machete finish.
Because of
hungry. Nothing they move out. Nothing they come out. Nobody they help me. And as I go and there they bring something where they eat. Now we there inside for how many days now? No way.
All right, I say they do this tire business.
Yes.
I mean, as you never come out for some time now, how you they manage?
Nah, the thing worry also. I know say the governor just 1 week. I know say they try invest to make everything to know near us. All this time, COVID-19. So that's go near us. That's what the governor they try to do. So and then now, if I give some people something, say make them hold themselves. This COVID is the worry people. I know say he's doing work. It's very good to make some safe person life, to not make somebody carry sickness. I know that the thing what he's doing is very good. So the thing will be say, if you want still go another one, make him give us what you go they use the mileage, even our food, because as we just there since our own be say we dey wait for work to come. Work no dey. If time no for organizer can eat. So that's the thing.
So as it be now, as the situation of things, you go like make the lockdown continue because waiting the governor dey fight na make we no catch the coronavirus.
I know say na wetin dey fight or make leave us more work. God go dey see for God go cover us. Make we no go cover, make any breakdown no dey again, make the no lockdown again. Make they go our work. Make they open everywhere, make everything start, make everybody they enjoy their life. So, I know say it's doing work. It's very good. I know talk say wetin they do is no good. So, and the money no dey.
For to buy food now, maybe as you come out today now, since we lockdown the way they buy food, they buy everything normal.
It's very cost. It's very cost. Garri now. You buy one base of garri, 6,500. You buy rice of 1, 2, 1, 3. You don't turn to 2,500, 3,000 naira. It's very wrong.
The thing too worry well because since time government lock this thing to eat, to see food chop, na problem. So they like this. Today they just open like this, you see happy. We just obey government. Say may God make him just to consider for this virus something. Try to lock them down again because this thing now they don't worry to see food. Because if the government now to do it that to lock shop, lock so many things, food to cast well. That is it.
As I come out today now, the passenger carry.
No passenger, people now say no money because some people now they go back now to go collect money, they die for lines, it's no money to collect, to come to pay passenger. No see the KKD line like this, no way. That is the things.
So, but say this lockdown what government do now for make all of us dey safe, make we no catch the virus. But for you now, you want making continue, I be made them cancel
but wait and making the, no be say making cancel and but the issue that are making some to consider. If you want to open now, making just to open as if you lock more 1, 2, 3 days to open. That is a thing, and the open church. It's a church with market.
Well done.
Good evening.
I beg say for some time and I never come and come hustle.
Yes, na so now.
As I come out today now, how the hustle be?
My brother, as we just come out today, seeing how things there now, we no see money, nothing. We come out, no hustle. We just stand like this, they look people now. So this weekend lockdown is good too, because the power is not from him, it's from federal government. So he have to do his own power from federal. So this shutdown, the thing affects us. We no see food, nothing, but with the chops, because God them. But we no get any problem for the lockdown. But one day I believe that God could do something with us.
So as I come out today now, they see passenger like the one that they see before they carry.
No, we no see passenger now. We just pick 1 and 2 and 3 like that. No
So
passengers.
the way they buy food before now so they buy now so the
No,
price
no. Very costly for now. Food now. If you bread now na 700, carry now 2,000 something for bucket. All this kind of thing never happened before. But now it don't happen. But nothing we could do now. That is called my brother.
The lockdown, you can see what is happening on the streets. We are actually looking at a situation whereby we say, okay, the governor can extend it because it's a rush movement. Today, tomorrow, you can see the panic buy even where we are today. Everybody is actually looking for a way to stock their home. So it's a difficult one, but we thank God that at least He has given us 2 days to restock our home. And I feel for me and some other persons, it's a fantastic moment.
So in other words, you're saying that it's the right step in the right direction.
Well, you can't detect for the governor, like we've been seeing in the social media and everywhere. He said he has the order, he has the capacity to, implement the orders, and these things have been in the law for quite some time. Of course, in the River State Act. So we've got to obey the governor. Not really a complete right step for the right in the right direction, like you said. I feel it's a measure that we must take because COVID-19, a virus, a deadly virus, never can tell you, we won't know who is a carrier. And so we must protect ourselves. So it's a good one, at least it's a good step.
So with the level of hunger on the streets, in various homes, and the hike in price, do you think the lockdown should be extended or should be suspended?
Well, we don't pray for this kind of measure. It's a drastic one. Of course, we talked about the vulnerable ones in the society. We all know that our society is really a difficult one. So this kind of measure is really a drastic one. I will appeal to him, if I have the capacity, if he will be able to listen to some of us, the yearning on the street, that we should unlock the state. Okay, there are other better measures we can take, like we've been seeing in other communities all over the world. This is not just a River State thing, it's all over the world. We've seen some other people, other countries who employ some other measures. You say compulsory nose masks. Of course, you can go to your daily activities and be safe. Social distancing, wash your hands regularly. Those are the things, the measures we know is a world measure. But of course, in his own capacity, in his own, he has decided this is the approach he wants to, place on COVID-19. For some of us, we say it is a bad one. But again, I think I would say, like the yearning on the street again, we should unlock the state and let the normal activities proceed.
Okay, very good evening to you. Thanks for your patience and thanks for your time. It's still late night talk with Kofi Bartels. Indeed, we had to get ourselves, working us properly. And today is a Monday. We're glad to be back with you. Issues and matters on the table. We've already put it up there for you to tell us what you think about what's been happening in River State. Lockdown has resumed today. What has it been like for you? Lockdown has resumed today. What has it been like for you, and what has it been, or how has it been in your area? I'd like you to tell me in the comment section. We have a guest already on the line, and his name is Nsirimovu. He's a Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner. He'll be telling us his thoughts on, the latest development. Latest development. My name is Kofi Bartels, and this is Late Night Talk. We're streaming live on Facebook and live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook and live on YouTube as well. I'm so glad that you are there with us. I'm so glad that you have been able to join us. So please, you can share this post. You can, so your friends and your family, those on your timeline can be a part of this conversation. They can drop their comments as well and then enjoy what you're enjoying. You all know the story of Prodest Hotel. You all know the story of, the young man principal who's been declared wanted. You all know the story of a manager of Prodest Hotel. Of course, remanded, arrested, whatever you want to call it. You all know the story. And the criticism, the attention that River State has attracted and the government of River State has attracted as regards the demolition of this hotel in Eleme. Well, after grave criticism that trailed the demolition of those two hotels, Prodest Homes and Etemete Hotels, both in Eleme local government area, the River State government has secured a remand order for the manager of the demolished hotels, Barunida Job is his name. A magistrate court sitting in Port Harcourt, ladies and gentlemen, today, Monday, ordered that the manager of the demolished Prodest Homes, Job, be remanded at the Port Harcourt Isolation Center for guess what? 14 days. 14 days. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to COVID-19, we always have like 2 weeks so they can test and be sure you don't have it. Well, isolation center for 14 days. That's according to the news we have. A magistrate court in Port Harcourt. Where did the magistrate court sit? My oh my. Of course, you know that the Yakubu Gowon Stadium, El Kahia, is one of the isolation centers in River State. That's where they sat. From what we hear. The magistrate court also ordered Barunida Job to undergo mandatory testing for coronavirus. Now, Job was arraigned before the court on a count charge bordering on the violation of executive orders of His Excellency, the Governor of River State, Governor Nsirimovu, which banned the operation of hotels in River State. Senior Magistrate Rita Oguga, in her ruling, also asked the manager of the Prodest Homes to pay the sum of 50,000 naira as fine and ordered that he should wait for the result of COVID-19 testing before he will be granted bail. So he's being remanded, and of course he has to wait for 14 days to be properly tested before he is granted bail. According to reports, the hotel manager refused to be docked because of the absence of his lawyer after the senior magistrate mandated him to enter the witness box, is what we're talking about. And when contacted, the legal representative of the hotel manager, Golden Leso Awi, on telephone said there were enough grounds to challenge the court process. If you remember, Governor Nsirimovu, Governor of River State, had personally led and supervised the demolition of Prodest Homes and the Etemete Homes in Eleme local government area. Courage Nsirimovu, good evening to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, Kofi, and good evening, people of River State, Nigeria, and the world at large.
Thank you very much. What is your reaction as a lawyer? What was your immediate reaction to this remand of this hotel manager, or some will call it sentencing?
There are matters of laws and facts, and of course the facts will determine the applicable law. There is a question of compliance with the executive order. There is also a question of legitimacy of the executive order. It is already established from good reasoning that the demolition of that hotel, on the one hand, amounts to executive rascality, because even in the statement of the Attorney General on due process when he was responding to the demolition saga, he stated also in response to impounding of vehicles that the due process of law must be followed. That means the court must make a pronouncement of sentence before a vehicle is impounded and auctioned. And also that also applies to this case of demolition. So if we want to start from the foundation, one begins to wonder the backing if you like, the legislative backing or the constitutional backing of the executive order before we go to this situation at the trial court.
Okay.
Now, the Constitution has not made any clear expression, does not directly give the governor or president the power to make such executive orders, except, of course, in times of war.
Okay.
That is Section 5 of our Constitution. But again, there are provisions of the Constitution that allows for the legislature, the lawmaking body. Of course, the concept of separation of power is clear in a democracy. The executive to enforce the laws and order the legislature to make the laws. So, ordinarily, what is expected is for the House of Assembly to make a law enabling the governor of Rivers State to make executive order, or empowering him to make executive order.
Hold on,
Yes,
Courage.
the claim
Are
of
you
the
saying
Attorney
saying
General.
that there is no backing in the laws or constitution for any executive in Nigeria?
I'm yet to see any, because I also copiously and attentively read the statement of the Attorney General of Rivers State, and he made claims, or he laid the authority of the executive orders on the National Quarantine Act, not the Rivers State Quarantine Act. And you and I also know that for a national act to be applicable in the state, it must be domesticated by the House of Assembly.
Okay.
We have the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of the federal level, and at the state level, it was domesticated as Rivers State Administration of Criminal Justice Law.
Okay.
We have the Freedom of Information Act at the federal level. It has not been domesticated at the state level, so it's not applicable. So one expects that the legislature in Rivers State would ordinarily have domesticated that Quarantine and Disease Control Act, and then now make laws here enabling the Rivers State government or governor to go about making legislative orders. So that can also be tried in court of law. But that is on the one hand. Now, due process of law, as our constitution allows in section 36, says that a person must be heard. Now, the demolition is before the hearing. So there has already been a breach of law. So demolition is supposed to come that if the court agrees with the government, if the executive order is, of course, lawful, and the court agrees with the government based on the facts available, the court now makes a decision. Only then can a demolition be lawful, because then it is judicial, then it's a sentence of court. Even section 41 of our constitution, which talks about the right to own property, also gives exception when property can be seized or demolished by the government. So coming to your question about the remand, the question is a question of fact. Did the manager disobey the law or the executive order? If it was lawful, was he there at the point, or did he keep his hotel open? You know, these are matters you hear from both sides. So I was not in court when the matter was heard. So I would not be able to fault the court one way or another. If he was there, and of course, if the executive order on its own is lawful and seen as a written law, then the order of the court stands. But if he was the place. And, the story on the other side is that this hotel was locked. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the good thing is that the trial process went through, which gives some sort of credence to our justice system.
Okay. Okay. You made some quite interesting points. You said that the good thing is that the trial went through. If you're watching right now, it's still Late Night Talk with Kofi Bartels. Courage Nsirimovu, a lawyer, legal practitioner based in Port Harcourt, is our guest. And we're analyzing, and he's analyzing for us, the news that has filtered in today as Rivers residents, Rivers people, have returned to their lockdown till further notice. And that is that the manager of the Prodest Hotel in Eleme, which was demolished by the River State government, over flouting that executive order to which Courage is referring to, and of course on which grounds he was taken to magistrate court. The manager has been remanded in quarantine custody, if you want to call it that, at the Port Harcourt Isolation Center by Yakubu Gowon Stadium at Akaya, Port Harcourt, River State, for the next 2 weeks. And Courage, our guest this morning, Courage Nsirimovu, lawyer, has said, number one, Courage, you said that there is no constitutional backing for the executive orders in Nigeria. I will come to that. You also said all federal laws must be domesticated in every single state. For instance, you talked about the administration of criminal justice law, which was domesticated, was passed by the State House of Assembly. Am I correct, sir?
Very well, Kofi.
And you said the quarantine law has not been domesticated in River State.
Yes, for now we've not seen any.
You also said that there was a demolition before hearing, and also asking if the manager demolished or disobeyed the law. So let's go to the first point you raised. And you talked about no constitutional backing for executive orders in Nigeria. Are you sure there's nothing in the law somewhere? Because I know President Buhari has had one or two executive orders himself.
If you understand what I'm saying, is that the Constitution empowers the National Assembly or State Assembly to make laws.
Okay.
So that is an indirect power for executive orders, not directly, so that the president cannot just begin to make executive orders. It is now the National Assembly that will now make a law, like we have the Quarantine and Disease Control Act. In that law, there is a provision that now enables the president to make executive orders.
In the Quarantine Act?
Yes, in the Quarantine Act. Even Lagos State had to get the legislature, that's the Lagos State House of Assembly, to also make such law, domesticate it. And then, based on that, they were able to go ahead to empower the governor to make executive orders. So that is the foundation for executive orders. It must be the lawmaking arm of government giving or enabling the governor or the executive to make such orders. So, to my mind, or to the best of my knowledge, I stand to be corrected, that has not been done in River State. So I would fault that the River State government is relying on the Quarantine Act of the Federal on one hand, when ordinarily they know that they have resisted the Freedom of Information Act from being
which hasn't been passed in River State.
Yes, from being applicable in River State, because the legislature in River State has not domesticated it. So it's a matter of due process. Even the demolition of the hotel was also a matter of due process. You know, the moment you carry out acts that are unlawful, it amounts to impunity and rascality. So we are in a constitutional democracy, in a system of rule of law. Everything must be done according to the law. And when the law stipulates clearly how an act should be carried out, it must be followed stricto sensu, the same way it is written. If not, such acts becomes null and void. So you know that even in America, executive orders have been challenged and quashed because of illegality. So you understand? And again, there is also another question. And that question is the consistency of the executive order with the Constitution. So also, that is another test for an executive order. And that is a claim for the supremacy of the Constitution. So that if an executive order in itself does not flow with the Constitution, it's not in line with the Constitution, then it becomes void to the extent of its inconsistency. So if, for instance, now the executive governor of Rivers State argues that his executive order is that immediately I found out you're disobeying my order, I will demolish. Do you understand? Then you know that it is running inconsistent with the Constitution that says you have a right to fair hearing. That means you must be heard in competent court of law before any decision or any sanction is levied against you. So that is how it works in a democracy and nothing else.
Okay. So I would like to ask again, because I asked before, I understand where you're coming from, Courage. But leaving Rivers State and going to Abuja, and President Buhari has signed one or two executive orders in recent times. Am I correct?
Yes.
So on what instrumentation did he rely on?
Now, the executive orders he signed, like I talked about the Quarantine Act on this COVID-19, the basis is on the Quarantine Act. If you noticed, the period when he signed the executive order on asset forfeiture, it was attacked. Even the matter was taken to competent court of law. So you could see that now at that point in time, the claim of legal practitioners were that you cannot seize a person's property until the court of law has determined one way or another. So this is not the first time an executive order is being attacked. So executive order ordinarily flows from legislative power from the National Assembly, and then the second test is whether or not it conforms with the Constitution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying those executive orders signed by Mr. President, they themselves are contentious, and
they are contentious and they have been contended.
I see. Okay, if you're just joining us, it's still Late Night Talk on Facebook Live. Also, we have on YouTube Live as well. My name is Kofi Bartels right here. I almost said 92.3 Nigerian 4. And, of course, my guest, Nsirimovu, is a lawyer, and he joins us live from his abode right here in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. You can feel free to drop your comments in the comment section, please. Just type your comments, and later on, as time permits, we will be allowing you call, and you can have your say as well through the phone lines. But for now, just drop your comments here. But if you'd like to call later, the number to call will be 080-620-99556. 080-620-99556. Also asking you what it's been like since the lockdown resumed today in your part of Rivers State, your part of Port Harcourt. For those of you who are watching us from Port Harcourt, you can feel free to drop your comments as well and to tell us what exactly or how exactly it has been for you. Courage, please permit me to read some messages before I come back to you. This one here. This one here is sent in by Friday Sunday, who says, "Yay, okay. Good evening to you, Friday Sunday." Innocent Okamson, good evening to you. Juliet Abang, Juliet Mecha, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us with your message as well. Good luck, James says to me, Kofi, the lockdown is nothing but suffering the poor very bad. CP Christian Peter says, first, I think the governor is trying to cover up his mess, but I think he'll still pay for damages for the lockdown. I think there is hunger in the land, and many are trying to keep calm, but later the protest will start if this continues. For me, I'm always on the move because I'm on essential duty. Lucky you. Lucky you. Courage. Christian Peter says the government will pay for damages later. What do you think about that?
This lockdown must also be with a human face,
okay,
and also with strategy. Some school of thought have reasoned that if this lockdown leads to the death of more people, maybe through hunger, to some extent, it begins to, crop up question of livelihood and right to life.
Okay.
Yeah, right to life. So then on the major question is, should we be taking these extreme measures of lockdown, given that Abuja, Lagos, the United States of America, Italy, of course, Scotland went about their business all through the period, and there has not been anything to show that the coronavirus escalated in Scotland because they went about their business. Yeah. So we must put the entire thing in perspective, because at the end of the day, if the government is not careful, then the government may face so many legal suits after this entire process of lockdown. Like this demolition case, there are so many suits waiting for the government of Rivers State.
I think that is what Christian Peter was referring to when he says, government may still have to pay damages. So tell us about that.
But that's not only it. There are still issues of livelihood that are fundamental rights. And if there are also police brutality cropping up from all of this. We've seen so many circumstances, even recorded by National Human Rights Commission, of extrajudicial killing by the police also. So those are possible suits that may arise.
Okay. Are you looking at those also who were probably jailed, over the first...
So there are lots of fundamental rights actions that may crop up, and families may come up with claims that, of course, during the lockdown, this person's relative of mine died of hunger because we couldn't get out to make our daily livelihood. There may be persons who can tell you they couldn't access medical care. Right to health is also a universal right under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and of course applicable in our courts in Nigeria. So the government must be very careful. The matters are very serious, and again, if we are not careful, there may also be matters of genocide. So governments must be very careful what they do at a time like this.
Interesting. Whether it's constitutional for the governor to have the right to an executive order, whether it's constitutional for him to do that or not, one would say that this is already enshrined in the law of River State. It's been signed
What law?
and has been passed into law.
What law?
It's been gazetted. Courage, allow me land, please. it's been gazetted. It's been
there is
gazetted.
no law. There is no law. You have to quote the law.
No, but
now,
yeah,
even when the
executive
Attorney
order,
General
executive.
spoke to the people, it was the national law.
Mm-hmm.
It was the national law that he cited.
Okay.
So we are yet. I mean, they should just follow due process. Gather the House of Assembly members. They could sit and pass a law. If not, tomorrow, if we go for legal review of these executive orders, we could throw everything out. And if everything is thrown out, then the government will be made to compensate all the persons that have suffered one loss or another. And again, it's the government, it's not the governor, because I mean, government is continuum. Another person takes over, and these legal issues is still the state that suffers it. So things should be done according to law.
Okay, interesting. So for those who are listening, I guess you can already tell that Courage is already believes in that, you know, it's a case for the people who are affected to go to law, to court rather, and seek redress. Courage, are we looking at probably damages being paid by the government if they succeed, maybe to the owner of the hotel, rebuilding the hotel, etc., etc.?
Yeah. There are so many interest in that case. We've seen interest from the Lagos State. Femi Falana reacted to that. We've seen people from the East react to it. I think Serap, the Socioeconomic Rights Action NGO,
the Twitter lawyers.
yeah, they also reacted to it. So there's been so much reaction to that because it's a clear case of impunity. And if the matter is taken to court, I don't think the governor will have any defense.
Really?
So it's a straight-up case. It's a straight case.
Interesting. So Courage Nsirimovu is saying that he doesn't think that if the matter is taken to court, that the government of River State will have any defense or any case. That is straight up the people who would file for damages or institute a claim against the government of River State will win hands down. That's what you're saying, Courage. They'll win hands down.
Clearly.
This is serious, so. All right, so people, if you're watching, do you agree with him? Do you support his view that those who are the owners, of this hotel, those who are affected by these two hotels, if they were to go to court, if they were to take the River State government to court, that they will win hands down? Clean, is what he says. You agree? You can drop your comments, and I'll read it as we go on. But Christian Peter, thanks for your time, your comment, and thanks for giving us something to chew on. Another comment here. Jerry Ebenezer, thank you, says waiting for the show. Okay, we had some hiccups when we started, but we're here. Thank you very much. Ezenwa Maka Okoro says, isn't there any new or reasonable topic? This is a new topic, my dear. It came up today, but if you're not interested, take a walk. Israel Madu says Wike should reopen Obiakpo and Port City local government areas. He has no better reason for the lockdown. Uche Blessing, thanks for your time. I can see that the data people are here. My brother, they've also noticed. Though sometimes they get tagged, but we're ready for them. Bright Kev Azubike says it's just funny. If the manager is to be quarantined, then all PDP members that attended the inauguration on Wednesday should be quarantined too. Courage.
Kofi, that's correct.
Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with that because you've read Animal Farm.
Yes.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal. You know what they are doing runs contrary to Universal Declaration of Human Rights that says all men are born equal and have equal rights.
Okay.
So if all men are born equal and have equal rights under the universal laws, as also stipulated, time and time again by Martin Luther King Jr. in his civil rights struggle, Then the PDP members who had that gathering of people, and you could see them stashed together, taking such pictures, then they should be quarantined. They flaunted the executive order. So why is there no prosecution or arrest from the governor against his own people? So that is a major case. It's a major case and one of equality before the law. So what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So they shouldn't have another law for the bourgeois, if you like. So, of course, the person has made a very valid point. Another point I want to make, Kofi, is that we must also be interested in the economic effects of this lockdown.
Okay.
Sincerely, I put up something on my Facebook page that River State can afford to go on such a lockdown, basically because we are not producing anything. We wait at the end of the month and we receive our revenue. So that's cool for the government. So if we were producing, exporting to other states, exporting to other countries, it would have given us much concern. So the government on its own is not even really feeling the bite. The people who are feeling the bite of this lockdown are people who earn their daily living by doing their daily trade. Most of us are just living by the grace of God. Even lawyers, they don't have access to the courtroom anymore. Meanwhile, in Abuja, somebody called me and said he's going to court this morning.
Wow.
So you could see that the federal government is easing, Lagos is easing, because they are beginning to see the economic impact. And given that statistics or experts that have spoken on these matters have said, oh, please don't get too scared. Yes, precautionary measures should be taken, but you need to understand how this works. If you don't have an underlying sickness or infirmity, and you contract this coronavirus, if your immune system is strong, you overcome it just the way we overcame measles, overcame chickenpox, and you will stand. Statistics show that 80% of persons have overcome it. People who are not likely to overcome are in the category of persons who already are sick, just the way HIV is. Okay, HIV is even more extreme. People who have that cannot overcome this are people who have underlying sickness. Then persons who are elderly, really old, their immunity is not so strong, and maybe very young children. So I think the whole talk about coronavirus is way inflated. It's way inflated. And
but this is your view as a non-med.
Let me land, Kofi.
Yeah, okay.
What we should focus on is precautionary measures. People should be allowed social distancing. We've been washing our hands. We've been greeting people from a distance. Even the taxis, I see taxis carrying one person in front and two persons at the back. We should focus on all those instead of locking the people down till further notice, creating uncertainties, putting people's life to a stop. No.
Okay, but this is your view as a non-medical person, your personal.
Yeah, I refer to other medical experts. It's
okay.
my view.
Okay, interesting. We will find a day to talk about a debate about this issue, sometime soon. But anyway, thanks for those of you who are joining us, our audience live, both lovers and haters, because we know some of them are watching. Can see you. But thanks for joining and populating. For those who are watching, we love you. We appreciate you. We value your time. All right, and keep watching. Please share the post so that others who are online can watch as well. This is something we're doing, but this is not just the future. This is now. Okay, so please support by sharing, the post, and so that others who are on Facebook right now can see and can also watch and comment as well. We have a very interesting conversation for you today. Of course, a manager of demolished Prodest Hotels, Eleme, River State, remanded in isolation center for 14 days, fined 50,000 naira. That is basically his sentence. Being in an isolation center for 14 days, it's not as if he's being detained, but they're saying he should go there so that they can test to see if he has coronavirus or not. We'll come to that. Also, he's asked to pay 50,000 naira. What do you think about this? Please drop your comments in the comment section so we can read them. Drop your comments in the comment section so we can read them. It's quite interesting. My guest today is a lawyer. He's a firebrand lawyer based here in Port Harcourt, River State. His name is Courage Nsirimovu, and he has said that there is no constitutional backing. In his opinion, he said he searched the books, he searched the laws, and as far as he's concerned, there is no constitutional backing for executive orders in Nigeria. And he says that the River State government cannot institute any executive orders, cannot implement, cannot have any executive orders, because even the law which they're relying on, which is the Quarantine Act, has not been domesticated in River State by the River State House of Assembly. Now, I was listening to what he was saying, but it kind of started to make sense, because he said, for instance, the Administration of Criminal Justice Law Act, which was passed into law at the federal level, in River State, we have to domesticate it in the state for it to become workable in River State. He said that the Freedom of Information Act, which became law, has not yet been domesticated in River State. Am I correct, sir? That's what he said.
Very well, very well.
And
very
therefore,
well.
the government of the day or any public institutions, they're not obligated to even respond to anyone, because they say, hey, we've not domesticated it. So he's saying equally, you should domesticate this Quarantine Act to start with before you can successfully and legally access the instruments or the provisions, of this Quarantine Act of 1917. Is it 1960?
It should be 2004.
Oh, okay, it's been updated. All right. So that's what he's saying. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with his view? He's a lawyer. If you're not a lawyer, well, feel free. All right, we want to hear from you. Please drop your comments in the comment section. We have some more comments coming through. I'd like to read Bright Kev Azubike's comment. He says that it's just funny if the manager of the Prodest Hotels is to be quarantined, then let all the PDP members who attended the inauguration on Wednesday be quarantined too. Bright, you're looking for trouble. So you want my friend, Ambassador, a great gentleman, I love him so much, Ambassador Kao, to be sent to isolation center at Kubu to go on stadium. Are you okay? That big man. Come on, my brother. No, now. But Courage has also said, I guess on the line, a lawyer, that if any of these people were to take the River State to government, they can take the River State government to sue them after now. And that if they were to take the River State government to court after now, that they will win hands down. Hands down. Wow. Do you agree or not? Are you recording this, my brother? Are you recording this? That they will win hands down. Okay. We have a lawyer, because he always is wearing the legal attire, Acho Modu, but I know he's also a politician or maybe a political supporter. Let's read his message. Acho, good evening to you. Acho says the standard requirement in a criminal trial is that the defendant or accused person is entitled to a lawyer and given fair hearing. Don't forget, I read that when he was asked to enter the dock, he said he would enter because his lawyer was not there to represent him. And you're saying that Acho says he shall not be tried secretly. Adequate time and facilities shall be provided for his counsel to prepare his defense. The haste with which the matter of the manager of Prodest Hotel was dispensed raises a lot of issues. And it says the integrity of the Attorney General is under test now. It's now under test. Courage, thank God you're a lawyer here. Do you agree with Acho, who I think is a lawyer? I see him wearing but he doesn't use the title. Do you agree with him, Acho Modu?
Yeah, I totally agree with him, because the Constitution, the same section 36 that talks about safeguards for suspects in a criminal trial, also guarantees that such suspects should have access to their own lawyer. So, if, for instance, the manager of the hotel stated clearly that he wants to exercise that right, the matter should have been either stood down, there is standing down of a matter for courts to go on recess, then he engages his lawyer, and later in the day the matter commences, or the matter should have been adjourned to another day, wherein he has been able to engage his own lawyer. So for the court to hastily go about the summary trial without his lawyers there to represent him, that's also a matter that calls for an appeal of the trial. One thing about our legal process is that you still have a right to appeal a decision of the court, so that where a magistrate does not follow due process. You see what happened in the case of Ojus Okalo. The substance of the case was not heard, was the matter. The matter was that the justice that was handling the matter was elevated to a higher court, which is the Court of Appeal from the Federal High Court. So, having been elevated, the position is that he does not have the jurisdiction to still hear the matter. But he went ahead, heard the matter, made pronouncements that gave his judgment, delivered his judgment. Now, the other party for Ojus Okalo appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court stated that whatever provision of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, which is Section 397, talking about this Criminal Procedure Act, you find out that I'm quoting the federal law. I'm not quoting the state law. So that tells you that what the Rivers State government is doing is not in line with the law, because they must domesticate. So that's on the one side. So the provision of that law states that if a judge of a lower court, which is the high court, is hearing a matter and is elevated to the Court of Appeal, he should be allowed or be permitted by either the Court of Appeal to still finish that matter, provided it do not affect his elevation.
Okay.
So it was based on that particular pronouncement of the stipulation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act that the justice heard the matter, even though he had been elevated. But when it was contended, the provision of the Constitution, Section 252, that makes provision for the Federal High Court, states that the jurisdiction of matters to be heard by the Federal High Court should be done by the judges of the Federal High Court.
Okay.
So it was on that ground, said, on technical grounds, or on these grounds I just raised, the matter should be taken back to the trial court. That the Constitution is supreme over the administration of criminal justice law.
Okay.
So you could see that decision of the Supreme Court has quashed a law made by the National House of Assembly, the legislature. So that tells you how the supremacy of the Constitution works, and judicial interpretation. And an executive order is it a bylaw or a directive? And I've also argued my little opinion that executive orders ordinarily are directed to agencies of government and not to the people in their entirety, except a certain law gives you that power. So if, coming back to the case of the manager, so if due process of law was not followed, then what you have at the end of the day will be an appeal. So since it's at the magistrate court, the appeal will go to the high court. And if it is not agreed at the high court, they will go to the Court of Appeal, because due process was not followed. At the end of the day, the courts may return the matter for retrial. So these issues are there. These issues are there. So our magistrates and our judges should not be judges of the state. They should be judges of the law. Seriously, Kofi.
Interesting.
They should be judges of the law.
Okay.
They should be guided by the law
Mhm.
and not by the state, not by the executive.
Achol
They should
raised,
do the bidding of the law.
so Achol raised this
It's
issue
terrible.
of the speed with which
Pardon?
the case was dispensed. I don't know if you've talked about that already. Also raised the issue of representation for the lawyer. Have you touched on that?
On the issue of the hastiness with which the matter was
Yeah,
heard,
and then also legal representation. Don't forget, as you said,
I've talked about the legal representation.
So the hastiness
I
now.
told you that
Yes.
he has a right to a lawyer, and if that wasn't allowed, then it also goes to the issue of fair hearing.
okay.
He can claim not to be what word should I say, to be intimidated. To be intimidated, he can claim everything happened with duress and all of that, and that also could be a case of miscarriage of justice.
Okay, interesting. We'll read more of your messages. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll take some more of your messages. Please do your best to share this post, so that others who are watching or who are on your timeline rather can watch and be a part of us. I want to thank all of you who are joining us. Stay with us. We're looking for your comments, and very soon we'll be able to call in. But stay with us. We'll be right back, please. All right, welcome back. It's still Late Night Talk. My name is Kofi Bartels, and of course, having a very interesting conversation this night and asking for your thoughts. Please feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section on Late Night Talk today. Very, very serious issues, controversial issue as well. Remember the Prodest Hotel and the Eleme Hotel, two hotels that were demolished in River State as a result of flouting the executive order on a lockdown in River State, in particular, Obiakpo local government area and Port Harcourt local government area, which we generally call Port Harcourt. Grave criticism trailed the demolition of these two hotels by the River State government. But we hear today that the River State government has secured a remand order for the manager of one of the hotels demolished by the government, Prodest Hotel. The manager is Barunida Joe. A magistrate court sitting in Port Harcourt today, Monday, ordered the manager of the hotel, the demolished Prodest Hotel, Job, to be remanded at the Port Harcourt Isolation Center for 14 days. The isolation center is where they take people who possibly have coronavirus to keep them there. If you don't have coronavirus, you're not taken to isolation center. So they say, Sammy met with Job, or Sammy met with Base 1. And base 1 has coronavirus. You don't have coronavirus. And then Sammy met with him. So we need to do contact tracing. And therefore, we go find Sammy. And when we find Sammy, we take him there, where you have people who possibly may have coronavirus, because it's possible. So we keep him there. We test him over a stretch of 14 days. And if he comes out negative over that 14 days, of course, it then means that Sammy doesn't have coronavirus. If he comes out, negative, it means he doesn't have it. Comes out positive, it means he has. So, but in River State, so far, what we've seen is that people who have tested or have been arrested, on the roads of flouting the lockdown order, have been sent to the isolation center. Courage Nsirimovu is our guest. Courage, will not allow me finish because he's laughing. Courage, what are you laughing about? If you in River State flout the government order, you're taken to isolation center. Why are you laughing, young man?
I'm worried because you take persons who possibly are not carriers of the virus to an environment where they are possibly carriers of the virus. You also risk their lives. It's a problem. isolation center, yes. But then, when you hear about persons just arrested, taken to quarantine center, persons arrested, taken to quarantine center and lumped there, then there may be very great risk there. Because persons who are affected by the virus, if they mingle with persons who are not affected, then the virus could be contracted by innocent persons, so to speak.
Okay. So you feel this is a grave situation for the people who are arrested to be taken to the isolation center,
that is
thereby
not the right
exposing
place to
them
take them
to the coronavirus, possibly. That's what you're saying.
That's not the right place to take them to.
Where should they be taken to, Courage?
Kofi, you know where they should be taken to. They should be taken
I'm
to
asking you the questions,
nearest,
my brother.
They
Where?
should be taken, the criminal justice system demands that they should be taken to the nearest police station for, or if the court is open during the day, they should be taken directly to the court for summary trial. And it should be determined one way or another. They are asked to pay fine. And that's how it should be. Not to take them to a quarantine center. Something is wrong.
Isolation center. Okay, interesting. So for those of you who are joining us, so that's the story. He was his name is.
You also know that persons who are taken to quarantine center are people who are suspected to be carriers of the virus.
Absolutely.
Are people you see on the street. That's the essence of the place. So am I wrong?
So you're saying it makes no sense to sentence someone to isolation center?
Yeah, when you do your contact tracing, you find out, you spoke with this person or you had contact with this person that had the virus and just died. You treated this person. This person is your relative. You carry this person in your taxi. Those are the people that are taken to quarantine center, or people who have shown possible symptoms, not people you see healthy on the street, and you take them to that place, you risk their lives because they are mingling with possible carriers. It's a risk, and it's also an issue of life, right to life also. So there are many issues in this matter. Yes, the matter it's sensitive, and the governor and the government of Rivers State should handle these matters very wisely.
Okay, thank you very much, Courage. So that's it. That's the situation we are grappling with, or we have for you today. It's the news that broke earlier today. So the man was arraigned on one count charge, bordering on violation of the executive orders of Governor Nyesom Wike, which banned operation of hotels in the state. Courage, we're seeing all over the world that people are having to adjust. Sports facilities are being closed down. Leagues are being closed down. Activities, churches, mosques are being closed down by the government for the good of the people. If we want to say law, maybe we might lose the point. What about the moral responsibility that all of us have, including the government of Rivers State? And we also have the responsibility to support them and support ourselves, to make sure that everything is done to nip coronavirus in the bud, to make sure that we do not fall to this virus in Rivers State. Shouldn't we look at it from the moral point of view to say, close down hotels, whether it's lawful or not, we will just support it? Isn't that the right thing to do, Courage?
Kofi, if I were to defend the government of Rivers State, there are many points to defend the government of Rivers State. There's the doctrine of necessity. There is the moral standard. Of course, nobody is against the government of Rivers State in this fight against COVID-19. What we are saying, even the National Human Rights Commission came up and said, look, in trying to cope or resist the coronavirus or prevent it from getting into your state or spreading, you must be careful not to violate the fundamental rights of people, especially when it's absolutely not necessary. Now, border or boundary closure, it's necessary. We understand. testing of people is necessary. Our right to freedom of movement is a constitutional right. It has been affected. We don't have a problem with that. All we are saying is that whatever you want to do in trying to curb or prevent the spread of this virus should be what a reasonable man will do, and it should be in accordance with the rules of law. Because if you take out the law, I was talking to some persons, that means at the point a person is arrested, maybe perhaps of violating this lockdown, they should begin to beat him up immediately. But that would be wrong, because you could beat him, and if it's somebody that is weak, you could just kill him immediately, maybe with one slap. You could just kill him. So we are saying, let the due process of law be followed while you're fighting the virus. So, understandable. And again, why we are totally against the lockdown is also because of the livelihood of the people. We are in a developing nation. Did you see the UNICEF report today? UNICEF said about millions of, in fact, UNICEF said more persons will die from the lockdown than the way coronavirus would kill people. So you need to look at that UNICEF. I'll send the UNICEF report to you. So for UNICEF to make such a report that if you go about carrying out lockdown in Africa, more people will die. So those are the type of things we're looking at, the livelihood of the people, so that one attempt to save lives will not be an attempt that will lead to more deaths.
All right, thank you. Let's just move on to the other question. But Achor touched on the integrity of the Attorney General. Do you think that needs to be brought in at this point, or it shouldn't be brought in at this point?
The integrity of who?
The Attorney General. Achor mentioned that. Does this have anything to do with him? Should such a
basically, I have looked at the statement of the Attorney General, who is a custodian of the Constitution. Yeah. He has made his position clear to Rivers people, and he has said that the due process of law should be followed. And he stipulated, in accordance with the law, that persons who are found wanting should go through the due process of law. So that is what should be done.
Okay.
That is what should be done.
Julie Udo here says what the governor did doesn't justify him as a good personality of a state. He's a father and a sound lawyer that should have pity and tender mercy on humanity, saying he should pay a fine on top of this. I'm sure you're talking about the demolition is totally unacceptable. My area on lockdown is very tight and secured. Every one of us obeys the rule because it's for our good. I use this medium to beg our dear governor to have mercy and grace to reduce the lockdown. Okay. Temidayo Emmanuel Olajide says, good evening, Kofi. As for the hotel manager being sentenced to 14 days in isolation center and to pay 60,000 hours, is it 50,000 now? It says, I think this is medicine after death. The governor of Rivers is trying to hide something. In fact, let us allow God's judgment to take his cause. I don't believe anyone in the era of this government. They are all the same because he hired them. He can also fire them if they misbehave. As for the lockdown, I'll simply say this: a soul without conscience is like food without taste. It will sustain the body with life, but with no fulfillment. The words are for the governor. Okay, all right. Israel Madu says, I agree with Barrister Courage. Interesting there. Eddie Nwanko says, good evening, Kofi. Are you saying that the two demolished hotels are managed by the same person? No. And this is Prodest Hotel. So you have to know that this is Prodest Hotels. Israel Madu says, you're doing a good job. Thank you very much. Acho Modu says, lockdown is without strategy, no action plan. It is more of punishment than an attempt to contain the deadly virus. The governor should have a rethink before inhumane results associated with such a lockdown happen. Uzoma Nwanko says the hotel manager is right. The hotel manager's right should be protected. The governor is a lawyer for goodness sake. Okay. Eddie Nwanko is back. He says, Barrister Courage, please, is the word of the task force members enough to convict a person without further evidence? Because so far, I've not seen any other evidence like pictures and videos of infraction at the hotel. What do you say to Eddie Wanko's question, Courage?
Okay. Those claims that the task force members are making, those claims must be verified because we see claims of the death of one of them. There are claims that they were attacked at the hotel. So those claims must truly be verified, and it is the duty of the police. Kofi, there is a major problem in Rivers State.
Okay.
It seems like the government of Rivers State and the police are not working together, which may be the reason why persons are taken to the quarantine center. So if we can reach out to the police PRO and, of course, to know why this is the situation, because there should be a synergy between the police and the government. Of course, the governor is the chief security officer. They should work together so that persons will follow the due process of law and not be taken to a quarantine center that may risk their life. So answering the person's or responding to the person's comment, it's the duty of the police to investigate whether or not such thing happened that led to death of the task force member. If there is any proof of that, the police should be allowed to investigate that matter. In our criminal justice system, we don't listen to the task force or any other person. It is the police report that is valid and should be listened to, nothing more.
So you're saying that there should have been a police report?
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
so we don't know if there was a police report or not. We're not sure.
And a police report.
But at the time,
we will not take anything. Well, if they like, they should show us whatever in a hospital pictures. No, it should come from the Nigerian police in Rivers State. That's the Rivers State Command of the Nigerian police.
Okay, but Courage, we can't tell. We don't know for sure if there was a police report or not. Is it possible that any judge, any magistrate will allow this sitting to hold this case to be heard without such a report?
I don't think any magistrate. It's a criminal justice system. And in the criminal justice system, it's the police that prosecutes, except the Attorney General gets the fiat to prosecute. But then, of course, there must be a report that will flow from police investigation.
Okay, a case file of sorts.
It is that case file that the Attorney General uses to prosecute the matter.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question. Just keep me a bit, but we'll come back to that. Yeah. Okay. So on the police, probably not working hand in hand with the state government, and probably that's why this man was remanded to isolation center. On the day of this action of demolishing these hotels, the police were working with the task force members. So at that time, they were still there. In fact, even when His Excellency went there, they were still there. And before now, the police were the ones even arresting people and taking them to the quarantine center. You remember the videos of the governor stopping people on the way and all that, the MDC of PHED, a pregnant woman. We had policemen who were asked, the governor told them, arrest him, take him away to the quarantine isolation center. Remember?
That is again an illegal and unlawful thing to do.
Okay, so it's possible the police are working with working with the state government on this, and the quarantine isolation center is because probably they are saying we want to check if you have coronavirus. We want to run a coronavirus test on you. So it's not a sentence to jail. It's not equivalent to a jail term. What the magistrate is saying, and I'm sure the law, the exec order says, okay, we will take you there to go test if you have coronavirus. I know His Excellency was saying, take him, arrest him, take that as if it was, but from what we can hear from the magistrate, the hotel manager is going there to be tested for 14 days, see if he has coronavirus. You're laughing.
No, his own is flowing from an order of God, so that is quite reasonable. But persons who are just taken to quarantine center, it's actually laughable because even persons who are arrested by the normal security agencies, that's the Nigerian police. Constitution says you shouldn't keep them beyond 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't even keep them beyond 24 hours.
But this isn't a
So
jail. This
you can
isn't
imagine,
a jail
you
sentence.
can imagine people just going to quarantine center and being detained. That's the word. It's a detention facility now, if you like, and being detained for how many days? 14 days on no probable grounds of likelihood of carrying the virus, just because they were suspected to have violated an executive order. No, that's not how our criminal justice system works.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a message here from Wabie Idoniboyebu. Wabie is contesting for the presidency of the Joe Youth Congress, so go vote for him if you're in the Joe Youth. Wabie says, is the isolation center now a tool to punish people in Rivers State? This is the highest form of rascality. A man with no symptom or contact with any sick person is locked up with people who are likely to have the virus. And that's the same thing as a death sentence. Courage, I think you've told us what you think about this. But anyway, your thoughts are welcome. We're almost done. We've done about 1 hour, 30 minutes. We had maybe about 15 minutes of that, before we came on. So we've done about 1 hour plus. But before we go, I'll just take 1 or 2 more questions for you, Courage. Someone mentioned to me on Twitter today something about double jeopardy. And I heard you say demolition before hearing. And someone here on our comments also said after demolishing the building, the person had to pay a fine and spend time in the isolation center. Is there anything double jeopardy about this sentencing?
Of course, the person was speaking in normal grammar. Actually, it's a matter of, you can just call it double punishment,
Okay.
if you like, or double sanction. Given the fact that, of course, they've had a huge loss of hotel demolition, after which the process is now being followed, although there are still contentions that the process being followed are not even being followed properly. That is, constitutional rights to a lawyer, his rights to be heard, were not also guaranteed by the same court that is the custodian and interpreter of the law. So you could see consistency in violation of the rights of the affected hotel and the manager. So it just seems like a case of oppression and intimidation. But with time, the truth will prevail, and with time, justice will take its course.
Okay, last message here, and thank you, Wabi, for your message. Ukatejit Julius Oyet says a lockdown is not good for SMEs and microeconomic activities in River State. Okay, thank you for your time. It's been quite interesting discussing this with you, Courage. Some points that you've raised here. There is no constitutional backing for the executive orders in Nigeria. You say all federal laws need to be domesticated, so the Quarantine Act itself, before it can be implemented in River State with executive orders, must be domesticated through the River State House of Assembly. You talked about the demolition before hearing, and you said that the manager who has been sentenced to isolation of 14 days in isolation center for coronavirus can seek redress in court, and you said he will win hands down. You also talked about that about the fact that the PDP members who went for the swearing in of the state executives also should be quarantined if this man was quarantined as well. And some points you've raised. It's been quite interesting talking to you, Courage and Nsirimovu. We have to say goodbye because we've really spent some time. But I want to thank you very much for your time. Courage?
Thank you, Kofi. It's my pleasure always.
And, of course, we'll do it sometime soon. Happy birthday in arrears.
Oh, thank you, Kofi. Have a lovely day.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's Late Night Talk for today. If you have any questions for me, you can send a DM, an inbox message, direct message to me, private message to me on this page, or you can tweet at me, DM me, whatever, and we can discuss. Or you can simply email me, Kofi Bartels, Kofi Bartels at gmail.com. I was wishing we would have time to take some calls, but unfortunately, we don't have time to take those calls. We'll do that tomorrow, God being our helper. From all of us here on Late Night Talk, we want to say thanks for your time and have a fantastic night. Good night.